Aw man, 2015 has been one heck of a year for me. Well, at least for this channel anyway. I've managed to accomplish a bunch of things, like making my countdowns bigger and better than ever, or uploading a video every week. Not to mention 2 collab countdowns, which I'd never done before, and a massive top 25. Not to mention getting 1,000 subscribers, getting close to 5,000 subscribers, and branching out into a bunch of new video types. Oh, and towards the end I started publishing videos in HD. I suppose that's pretty cool too. I do feel I made a couple mistakes this year, but for the most part it's been pretty good. Honestly, in general, I think things have been going better for me this year. I mean, I played a lot better games this year than I did last year, but that's the countdown for 2016. But enough reminiscing, we have this whole video to do that. Now, as you may know, last year I did a look back on my countdowns of 2014, but not a whole lot of people watched that, which is a shame because I liked that video. But I figured that more people would want to watch me ranking my countdowns from least favorite to favorite for the end of the year special. But before we kick this thing off, there are 2 disclaimers I'm going to have to give. For starters, most of these were tough to rank, so you might not want to take my rankings too seriously. And secondly, even though these are my videos, it's still just my opinion on them. If I don't like one of my older videos, you can still enjoy it, or vice versa. Man, that was a lot of explaining. Well, time to begin the countdown. Okay, I suppose before I can start patting myself on the back for all the stuff I did right, I have to face the music for the mistakes that I made. Honestly, out of all my countdowns this year, and probably last year as well, this is the video that I put the least amount of effort into. And believe me, it shows. For those who don't know, a guy by the name of Grandmaster Flair did a commentary on me. I didn't watch the whole thing, but Freeze filled me in on the basic points that he made, and one of them was accusing me of not doing retakes. I find that very insulting, but if he was commentating on this video, he actually would have a point. Now, throughout my videos, I've had a bit of a stuttering problem. Some may say that's what comes with not writing any scripts, although I think I still would have the problem if I did write them. However, as my videos have gone on, I've managed to pretty much fix it and cut out any takes where I screw something up. So in my videos, normally the worst you hear is minor, infrequent pauses here or there. Here though, I didn't even try. There was literally one point where I just start going and I still left it in! Not to mention, unlike just about every video I've made this year, with the exception of the walkthroughs, as I sorta like them to have an unscripted vibe to them, I've rewatched the video after I'm done to make sure it's okay. Here, I did not. Nowhere is this more clear than in the number 7 entry, where I labeled Mr. Game & Watch as Wario. This is a mistake I could have easily fixed if I simply watched over the video again, but I didn't. Now I can't tell you exactly what I was thinking when making this video, as it was almost a year ago, but I have a feeling if we went back in time, we'd find that I didn't really care much when making it. Also, the tier list thing was kinda forced. Although I still agree they are pretty much full of crap. Wow, I am a freaking genius. And by genius, I mean idiot. Whether it be the Autark, Speedster, or even Jontron, any countdown maker who's done an overrated list has ended up regretting it. Okay, I suppose Josh Scorcher did it pretty well because he did put a lot of thought into his list. Now, I don't hate this video per se, I still find it fairly enjoyable to watch, but at the same time, there were some places where I made some big mistakes. I think probably the mistake that gets under my skin the most is the one I made at the beginning. The one where I said I wouldn't put a game on the overrated list if I could understand why people enjoyed it. I still stand by what I meant by that, but I worded it horribly. Obviously, I know why these games on the overrated list are popular. What I should have said was that it doesn't solely come down to me just hating the game, and I have to legitimately think that the game doesn't deserve the popularity that it gets. Also, the play before put rule. In my personal opinion, there aren't a whole lot of situations where you really should need to remove that. Although I will admit, if you're pretty familiar with the series, then in some cases it's okay. I would say that for the games that I didn't play, I made some legitimate points, but it mostly just felt like me regurgitating what everyone else had said, with the exception of that point of saying that Five Nights at Freddy's is way more original than Slender. Oh, and the Call of Duty entry. I honestly think this was one of the more well-executed parts of the whole video. Also, for those of you ripping on me for using the alpha version of Minecraft for the footage, keep in mind it's not exactly easy to find footage of just plain Minecraft without any mods on YouTube. I will say that after a while of watching channels like Xbox Addictions and my brother starting to play Minecraft again, I can safely say I don't hate Minecraft anymore. But I still think it's really overrated. Also, it still does fill me with rage whenever people try to treat Minecraft like it's the greatest thing ever. Also, that comment I made about Notch. That was over the line, pretty mean, and just plain freaking stupid. In fact, the only reason I used it was to imitate some other guy who hated on Minecraft at one point. Although to be fair, with all the reports coming out of how Notch was complaining about how he had too much money, it makes me start to wonder whether or not that comment was so stupid after all. The underrated list I don't have much to say about though. I think it was alright. Also, I put Psychonauts as number 1 on underrated. Seeing how things are now, I'm not sure I can say that anymore. It's kind of a bittersweet feeling really. On one hand, Psychonauts is popular, on the other hand, I was wrong. Also, like I mentioned earlier, I am well aware of the commentary that Grandmaster Flair did on this video. And seeing how well that worked out last time, I bet you can guess that I'm not going to be responding to it. Okay, if there's one video of mine that I have a love-hate relationship with, it would be my top 9 worst game theory videos. I hyped it up big time and even made it my 1,000 subscribers special, and looking back on it, I have mixed feelings on it. One thing that I should acknowledge right now is I am well aware of this video's flaws. Should have explained number 9 better, the pyro entry was too high on the list, and my main evidence for number 8 was flat out untrue. I learned that firsthand when Nintendo hit me with third-party claims on my thoughts on their April Direct and my thoughts on their E3. Also, it's kind of embarrassing that I had to make it a top 9 when there were perfectly bad theories of his out there like how fast is Sonic or Link is dead. Also, my closing statement could have and should have been worded better. But at the same time, when I got it right in this video, I feel like I really got it right. Segments like the YouTube is broken video, Rosalina Unmasked, Wii U is the new Virtual Boy, and of course the mother of them all, Mario is mental. These really stood out as the best segments in any of my videos for a while, even if the entire second half of the video was just the top 2. And yes, I do feel that Mario's mental was worthy of me debunking it for 10 minutes straight. Also, going back to the Wii U's the new Virtual Boy video, some people have said that MatPat's right because the Wii U did tank. I'll fully admit that the Wii U didn't sell well, but the fact of the matter is, it wasn't because it was a bad system or for any of the bullcrap reasons that MatPat listed. It was because it had a terrible name, terrible marketing, and in general, Nintendo doesn't really resonate with the hardcore market. They haven't since the N64. Now, some might argue I made this video just to spread controversy, even though I did it because I wanted to and I knew the fans would like it, but considering the fact that in most videos MatPat tries his hardest to come up with the most insane possible answer, and especially considering videos like Are Video Games Anti-Gay or Leave PewDiePie Alone, where it seems he's trying to spark controversy so much that Donald Trump would be jealous, the accusation of me spreading controversy kinda seems a little hypocritical. I mean, the You Are the Puppet video is pretty much an explanation of how he comes up with ideas. Now, I know I'm kinda getting off topic and beating a dead horse, so I think I should just move on to the next entry. Okay, finally, now we're into the stuff that I can genuinely call good. So why is this at the bottom of the good list? Well, here let me explain. For me, this video was this year's equivalent of top 10 DS games, meaning that it ended up turning out alright, but I was not having a good time making it. Which is a real shame because I was looking forward to making the video, and talking about levels is one of my personal favorite topics to talk about in videos. You see, in top 15 favorite bosses, there were some audio issues that are minor but at the time seemed very major to me. Since then, I've found the solution. I just need to put a pop filter over my mic. but at the time I was really desperate to get my audio to sound nice. Oddly enough, I was even more desperate when making top 15 final bosses, yet strangely enough I actually had a better time making that one. So maybe there's some unknown hidden factor that either I didn't see or I can't remember. And I can't fault the video too much, as it actually did end up turning out good in the end. Although at first I was horrified at the audio quality, but then I realized it was so bad because I was listening to it through my crappy phone speakers. And for the record, that joke at the end of the Bioshock Infinite entry, and yes, it was a joke, it's not incompetence because of lack of scripting or whatever, it was to show just how neck and neck the top two were. I ended up going with the Submerged Castle because I felt that the revelation that I actually liked it would make for a better number one. Well, here we are at my first SML video of the year and my second collab. Now for the record, I did contact WH Dude and asked him if he wanted to appear in this video so he could give his thoughts on the countdown, but he never responded to me. So I guess I'm all on my own. Now this was a video I was really excited to do, but looking back on it, I might have actually had trouble coming up with 10 entries, so it's a good thing that WH Dude hopped aboard and asked me to collab with him. Now how this worked is I came up with numbers 1 through 8, he came up with 9 and 10, he wrote the script, and I edited the video with the exception of the modified intro. That was all Dub's work. He wrote some pretty good jokes, and at times I was worried I wasn't giving it the right delivery to make it as funny as it could have been. But judging by how the video turned out, I think I did pretty well. Now, I have more to say about making videos about SML, but I think I'll save that for later down the list. Okay, top 15 final bosses. This video turned out pretty good. Fun fact, this is the only countdown I've made with a different editing software than the other countdowns I've made. You can tell by the text on the number transition screen. I was looking forward to making this video for a while, but actually making it had some frustrating moments. You see, just like in top 10 creepiest levels, I was desperately fumbling around with the audio to try to make it not staticky. There were several entries that I felt I had to go back and fix because I didn't do them good enough the first time around. The video still turned out pretty good though. Strangely enough, I feel like this video ended up getting a worse treatment with the static than top 15 bosses ever did. This is the first countdown I've made that's actually been in HD. I'm now posting videos in 1080p on a regular basis, but at the time it was new for me. I love how I'm saying it as if it was a long time ago, when in reality, for you guys, the video came out less than a month ago. I am aware that some segments in this video went on significantly longer than others, but I feel that they were justified in doing that. Bosses like Omega Flowey and Yami take longer to talk about than bosses like, say, Master Core. If there's one complaint I have with this video is that some of the earlier entries kind of feel less engaging than some of the later entries. I don't know why that is, but I just kind of feel that way. I know it might seem weird putting this video this low on the list, but keep in mind, like I said earlier, try not to take the order too seriously. Top 10 video game villains kind of felt like a return to form for me this year. Strangely enough, despite the fact that this video came out at the end of May, it was my first countdown this year that talked about multiple video game franchises and my play before put rule was active. This was a countdown I was really looking forward to, and I had a lot of fun making. I think the entries I'm most proud of are the Comrade Black and Inked Corporation entry, and the Forrest Blackwell entry. Although throughout the whole video I feel like I did a good job. I'm kinda having trouble talking about this countdown because of the fact that there's just not a whole lot of stuff I have to talk about, whether it be personal stories or whatever. I do think it is definitely worth a watch though. Like I said earlier on this list, levels are one of my personal favorite topics to talk about when it comes to video games, and top 10 Paper Mario chapters was a really good way to do it. Due to the levels being so memorable and so varied, it gave me a lot of stuff to talk about. And going back to watch this video really is a good time. Looking back on this video, it was kinda necessary. I mean, I spent so much time ranting about Sticker Star and how it destroyed such an amazing series that I never had a full video to talk about how Paper Mario was such an amazing series to begin with. Also, when it came to the chapters I put on the list, I think I was pretty even. I mean, I had 3 from the original, 3 from Super Paper Mario, and 4 from the Thousand Year Door, which is my favorite in the series. And the funny part is, when I was making this video, I didn't think it was going to turn out all that memorable, but what do you know, it did. Well, to me at least. Like I said, even though these are my videos, it's still just my opinion. Well, here we are at the second SML countdown on my list. My top 10 favorite SML characters, second edition. Now, the original SML characters list wasn't bad per se, especially compared to the other stuff I was making at the time, but it became outdated over time, both because the ways I make videos change, and because my choices changed as a lot more characters were added and such. Fun fact, I'm actually mentioned on the SML wiki several times, and one of them was about Black Yoshi being my favorite character. So why do I like this video better than the worst list? Well, I think one of the reasons is that it feels more like my own. Not that working with Dub was alienating or anything. Another thing I liked about this video is that I got a chance to talk positive about these characters, because there are a lot of really funny and interesting characters in SML. I do feel like I made some controversial choices, like putting Mama Luigi at the bottom of the list, or putting Cody and the Brooklyn guy on the list at all. But in the end, in a way, I feel it kinda adds to the video's value. It feels kinda balanced. I'm giving a lot of praise to some of the older characters and to some of the newer characters. Although, I'm gonna say this, I'm even more excited for the SML countdowns I'm doing next year. Top 20 best Super Mario Logan videos and top 20 worst Super Mario Logan videos. I feel like they're both going to be a lot of fun to make, and both this past year and this coming year are going to give me a lot of material to work with on both ends of the spectrum. Top 10 most annoying Mario and Luigi moments. For some reason, this is a countdown I can just keep coming back to. It was heavily inspired by Rabbid Luigi's top 10 most annoying Mario moments, and I think it did a good job with picking out moments for this list. Looking back on it, there are 2 very good choices that I left out of the list, both from Dream Team. One of them is the annoying gyroscope controls. Trust me, it's a complete nightmare trying to fight bosses like the Z Keeper while you're in a car. The other one was the fact that the fight with Phantasma is a huge difficulty spike. I fought just about every enemy I came across in Neo Bowser Castle, and I still had a tough time beating Phantasma without turning on easy mode. Although maybe it's a good thing that I forgot about those moments. I mean, Dream Team is my second favorite game in the series, and that would make 4 moments from Dream Team on the list. Okay, actually 3 because the number 9 entry would get bumped off, but still, you get what I mean. I've had some people disagree with me on this video, particularly when it came to the Partners in Time segments, but hey, opinions are opinions. Also, when I was planning out number 1, literally to find where the tutorials were, because there's so many I forgot, I just looked at the footage that I was recording. Now that I think about it, I tend to do that a lot. I guess that just goes to show why I shouldn't write scripts. But anyway, on to the next entry. Okay, top 10 things we hate about modern SMG4. This video was a massive undertaking for me. Probably about as much as top 25 YouTubers actually. First off, with this video, it wasn't exactly clear-cut what footage I needed to get, so I just went with the videos that Freeze mentioned in his script and then went from there. Speaking of the script, Freeze actually did a really good job with it. There were a couple problems with it, but I just ironed those out in the final draft. At the end of the day, this video really was Freeze's idea. He wrote the script and came up with most of the entries, and I think he did a pretty good job. Whereas I focused on getting the footage and editing the video. Honestly, I don't think either of us would have been able to pull this off on our own. Freeze had the ideas, and I had the editing necessary to make it happen. Some may say it's similar to the top 10 problems with modern SpongeBob list that some other guys made, and yes, I will admit it definitely has its similarities, but I feel it's original enough not to be called a ripoff. Honestly, if there's one person with this video that I have to give credit aside from Freeze, it would be SMG4 himself. SMG4 saw the video within the first 24 hours, and he took it surprisingly well. Not to mention, he also took our advice. Which, if I'm gonna be honest, is something I wasn't actually expecting to happen. The Hangover and Mario Simulator Interactive were freaking fantastic, and everything after that, while not as good as those two, was still really good. I could say more, but I think it's time to pass the mic over to Freeze so he can share his thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dafawfulizer, but I think it's time that I stated my opinions on the list, as I was the one who wrote the original script. Now, I am still pretty proud of it, and I think we did a decent job explaining our points, and I still agree with what I said. And I haven't seen SMG4's videos in a while, so I honestly don't know if the videos he made after it still share the same problems. However, I still had fun writing the list, and I do like it. But of course, it wasn't well received by everyone. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have valid reasons for not liking our list, which is fine, but then there are those SMG4 fans, you know, the ones who instantly found the video and accused us of bullying SMG4 just because we had problems with his modern content, and thought it wasn't up to scratch compared to what he used to do today, sorry. I knew these people were going to find the video and dislike it instantly, and some of these comments were so laughably stupid. First, we made it clear that there's a difference between criticizing a person and criticizing their work, but I can't expect you guys to remember that. Second, yes, what isn't funny to us could be funny to someone else, but what we were trying to say was that you just can't call something funny just because it's random. If you want an example, the murder of Batman's parents was random. Was that funny? No. Just random crap popping up on the screen isn't exactly funny to us. There has to be a reason behind its humour, and Vine clips don't cut it for us. Though it's an opinion list, so you're allowed to disagree, but you forgot that, didn't you? Third, people were complaining about us copying the gaming cat, and yeah, we took a lot of inspiration from his list, but it's a different topic, and at least we changed the lines to ranking to fit our taste a bit more. And lastly, people say that our standards are just too high for a YouTube video, even though we aren't judging his editing skills and just comparing old to new, suggesting how he could do it better. And by that logic, you can't criticize our list because hey, it's just a YouTube video. But aside from those stupid complaints, a lot of people, including SMG4 himself, actually enjoyed the list, which makes me happy. The like to dislike ratio is almost even, and it could be worse. Even though I quit making countdowns ages ago, I still enjoyed making it and working with Dafawfulizer. So hey, thanks for collaborating, dude.
You're welcome, it was fun. Now time to move on. Okay, top 15 bosses. As you can tell, it's a lot higher on the list than top 15 final bosses. Why is this list so high? Well, I just feel like it's really enjoyable. When I was making the list, I was sure to go in depth as much as I could with each boss. With each one, I felt like I sort of gave it its own story to tell, almost. Why do I feel better about this video than the other one? Maybe it's because I had a lot more fun making this one. In the final bosses list, towards the beginning it feels kinda slow. Here, it doesn't really feel like there's a dull moment to be had. Each entry just kind of feels unique and exciting in its own right. I think my favorite entry on the list was the Captain Hook entry. I had a lot of passion going towards it, and gameplay wise, I do think it is a marvel of a boss fight. Also, for those of you wondering about the sudden drop in quality, it's because the video I found that covered the two thinner endings for Captain Hook was only in 280p. Typically I try to get the highest quality videos possible, but in that particular case I doubted I would be able to. Okay, here we are, the big one. Top 25 YouTubers. A remake of my very first countdown, and the countdown this year that I had been thinking about the most beforehand. Yes, even more than top 9 worst game theory videos. In this video, I think it gave me a really good opportunity to touch upon a wide variety of YouTubers. There were some awkward pauses here and there, but for the most part, the video is pretty solid. I think this video told a lot of my fans about a lot of really entertaining YouTubers, whether it be Bart Baker or JT Machinima. Honestly, I think my two favorite entries in this countdown, because of how well executed they were the Epic Rap Battles of History entry and the Nostalgia Critic entry. In a couple of years, I think I will be remaking this video. Not because it's bad or anything, not at all, but mainly because these type of videos, for me at least, get outdated pretty quickly. But if you want to hear what I'd update right now, well, here you go. I would move Rabid Luigi, Josh Scorcher, and to a lesser extent SMG4 way up on the list. Cut Danger Dolan out of the equation entirely. Take Todd off the list, and maybe switch him out with Rap Critic, maybe not. Put Pie Guy Rules and Chugga Conroy higher on the list if I can find any room. Drop Fawful's Minion a little bit, just so he's on the same level as Rabid Luigi and Josh. Put Mr. Enter way lower on the list. Honestly, I was doubting whether or not I should put him at number 10 even as I was making the video. Maybe put the completionist a bit lower on the list. And above all else, make room for 3 new awesome YouTubers that I discovered since that video. I Hate Everything, Xbox Addictions, and maybe Phantom Strider. Now, in that whole overly complicated algorithm, you may have noticed something. This isn't number 1. And if you've been paying attention, you've probably figured out what it is by now. And you may be surprised, but let me explain myself after the number transition. Top 5 best and worst video game sequels. Now I bet some of you are pretty confused. I mean, out of everything on the list, this is the one that makes number 1? And if I'm gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure why myself. But this is the video that gives me the most joy every time I come back to watch it. First off, I'd like to say I still like the choice of using JonTron as transition footage. I mean, technically it is fitting, because in that video he was talking about an infamously terrible sequel. Maybe I like this video so much because it was the only countdown this year where I talked about entire games. Well, the only time I did it well, anyway. Honestly, I think I had a lot of good picks, and I did a great job on both ends of the spectrum, explaining why the bad sequels were so terrible and why the good sequels were so great. And technically it is me comparing 2 games in each segment, so that's also pretty interesting. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to blame you at all if this wasn't your favorite of my videos this year. But for me, it is my favorite, and I'm sticking with that statement. So those were my countdowns of 2015. I really hope you enjoyed this awesome year. It's been a really big year for my channel. Feel free to post your rankings as to which countdowns you liked the best this year. I'd honestly like to know. Honestly, my only hope is that I can make 2016 even better. I'm not going to share the specifics with you here though. I think it's best we save that for next year. And by next year, I mean tomorrow. In the meantime, if you've missed any of these countdowns, or you just want to rewatch one of them, then feel free to click on the annotations I'll be providing in a second.